Hello, and welcome to Microsoft Tech Summit. My name is Jennifer Lee, and I'm a Program Manager on Azure App Service. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to build, deploy, and scale web apps on App Service. First, let's talk about different ways with which you can host your application in the cloud. Let's say that hosting a cloud-based application is like figuring out how to get a car for your next road trip. One option is that you can purchase a car. You own, operate, and control everything about the car. However, you also need to purchase insurance for it, maintain and fix any problems that your car will have over its lifetime, figure out parking, get your driver's license so you can drive the car, and so on. This is like hosting your application in Infrastructure as a Service, or IaaS, where you purchase, maintain, and secure your own virtual machine. You own it, but that also means that you have full responsibility whenever something goes wrong. On the other end of the spectrum, there is Software as a Service, or SaaS, where the product is pre-built for you. This is like ordering a taxi or taking an Uber. You can get from point A to point B, and you don't need to figure out parking or even have a driver's license. On the other hand, there are limits on flexibility. You can't choose what model you get, you may have to wait for your ride to come, and you can't control how bumpy the ride may be. Finally, we have Platform as a Service, which is like renting a car. You can choose what car model to get, how fast to drive it, go back and upgrade your car, but you don't have to worry about all the infrastructure and maintenance of it. With your web app on PaaS, you don't have to worry about the VM and maintaining high availability. All you have to do is bring your code. As you can see, the main difference between all of these different services is a balance of responsibility. How many of these building blocks do you want Microsoft to handle, and how many building blocks do you want to control and customize for your own solution? As you can see, PaaS is in the middle here because all you have to do is bring your app and bring your data, and we'll take care of the rest. Because PaaS strikes this balance of responsibility, our customers who use PaaS see an incredible return on time savings that saves money in the long run. Our customers and IT pros have no need to hire more people to maintain their VMs or to build additional productivity features. You can develop, deploy your application faster, cutting your time to launch your next big thing. So what is Azure App Service? Azure App Service is a PaaS platform where you can easily bring your web app to the cloud on either Windows or Linux and quickly build, deploy, and scale your app. We promise you high availability, so we'll deal with patching the VMs, auto-scaling, maintaining the infrastructure and security so that you can just focus on developing your web app. Additionally, App Service comes with a whole slew of features for free that you don't have to build yourself. Our customers running enterprise-grade apps love that we have global centers around the world that are secure and compliant. We are a fully managed platform, so that means you can reduce your operating costs and we'll deal with maintaining the infrastructure. And third, we've made sure to support a variety of different stacks that we keep adding to, as well as have features that help you with staging, deployment, and testing, so you're as highly productive as possible. Here's actually only a partial feature list, some of which I'll be showing in a little bit during our demo. Our engineering team is constantly iterating on this list and adding to it, all according to your feedback. What kind of web apps do customers usually use App Service for? Some common scenarios include digital marketing applications, where global campaigns take advantage of being able to run in our data centers all over the world. E-commerce shopping sites are also some of our more popular customers, since it's easy to scale up during high-volume shopping seasons and scale down appropriately. And also line of business applications. These use our identity management features frequently, so they're internal company resources, and this helps reduce their IT costs. So there are actually 3 different flavors of App Service. Our most popular is our regular Azure App Service offering, which is our multi-tenant platform. That's what I'll be demoing shortly. Second, our App Service Environment offering, where you can deploy and run your apps inside your own virtual network and have your own version of our app service front-end load balancers in an isolated environment or a single tenant that is just running just for your applications. Finally, do you have on-premise infrastructure? You can leverage App Service on Azure Stack to bring the power of our platform to your data centers. Later, everything works in a similar way, so when you decide to move to the cloud, there's no learning curve for you and your team. If you're still deciding whether App Service is right for you, don't just trust me, trust our customers. Join our over 500,000 active customers who are hosting almost 2 million apps in App Service and creating 19 billion requests per day on App Service. All right, let's jump to the demo. We'll start here in the Azure portal. Click on this plus sign, and right here you see web app right in the first page, or you can search for it in the text box above. You can also search for App Service environment there. All right, let's name our web app. All right, so we can name our web app and then choose an Azure subscription for it to go under. Then we'll create a resource group. A resource group is just a logical entity that helps you put all the resources belonging to your application in a single umbrella. Think of it as a folder where you can put your app and your data in one place and also share that with your coworkers, giving them contributor and access rights. It helps you keep yourself organized. All right, so I have an existing one called Tech Summit Welcome. I'll use that one for this demo. And next we can choose our OS. So here you have two options. You can choose a Windows or Linux OS. We'll choose Windows here, but definitely check out our other session about App Service on Linux. Next, we'll create an App Service plan. An App Service plan is a fancy term for a server farm. All right, so we'll create a new one, and here we can we'll name it first. And here is where we can actually choose our location where we want our app to run in. So as you can see, we have data centers all over the world. And since we're such a popular service, whenever a new Azure data center opens, App Service will be a part of it from day one. All right, so let's choose West US. All right, next thing we do is we choose our pricing tier. So as you can see up here, these isolated SKUs are for App Service environments, where you have those dedicated front-end load balancers and also VNet support that our customers love. Next, we have our Premium V2, Premium, Standard, Basic, Free, and Shared, all these other pricing tiers that we offer. So for this demo, since I get to expense it to the Microsoft account, I'll choose the 4-core Premium V2 SKU. I actually get faster CPU, SSD, and also the scaling up to 20 instances and 20 slots with any of the Premium V2 SKUs. Sounds like a good deal to me. Select that. All right. Now I can choose to enable application insights to trace my app and give me insights on how my app is behaving. So I'll do that here as well and pin that to my dashboard and click Create. It'll take just a minute for it to deploy. What's happening here is that our architecture isn't creating a full-blown server or anything, but is associating your web app name and your subscription in that region, in that scale unit, with that instance size that you chose to a resource that's already been provisioned. Basically, it just assigned a worker to your web app. All right, I'll click that. Now that the web app is up and running, this is the overview blade. All the features in the feature list earlier that I showed you are right here to the left. You can see on this overview blade the URL, what app service plan you're running in, all the FTP information that you would be interested in. So as you can see here, if I click the URL, it takes me to this default app service page. So your Azure App Service web app is up and running. Great, but how can I deploy my code to my web app? I spent all this time developing my web app on my GitHub repo using VS Code or whatever IDE you like, and now it's time to deploy my own code. First, I'm going to go to deployment slots right here. This is important because I want to create a staging slot for QA and because I want me and my team to be able to test our app before we go live in production. Later on, I'll show you how we can swap your staging for your production slots. All right, so we're going to add the slot here. So here I can create a staging slot right here, and I'll click OK. And there it is. So if I click here, so basically what slots do in the background is that it creates another web app on the same app service plan at no additional cost. As you can see, the slot was ready, and when we clicked on that, this looks exactly like another web app. But the key difference is right here in the URL. You see this is my web app name plus the dash staging. When we click on that, we see the sample site up and running again. Great. So far, so good. Okay, so now I'm going to put my site into the staging slot by going to deployment options. All right, so here we select the source. So I have my GitHub right here. I've already had this pre-authenticated, so it has all my information. I'm going to choose my project, Awesome Web App, branch from master, and you can also even configure your performance test right here as well. I'll click OK. Okay, so as you can see, it is connecting to GitHub. All right, great. So we have our webhook for our stage slot set up. So it would continually listen to any changes that I make in GitHub. So if I go back here and refresh the page, great, so we have my site up and running. So this is Awesome Web App. Hello Tech Summit, welcome to Azure App Service. And I decided to put a really awesome photo I took of Seattle. So you can see the Space Needle here. So I want to show you how this webhook allows me to continuously keep this up to date. So let's say I actually don't want this picture. It kind of looks like rainy Seattle. So I want to make edits here, and I'll make edits in the staging slot before I go live to production. So make sure everything is right before we actually debut this to our customers. So I'll go into my GitHub account. So here, this is my fork of Awesome Web App. And instead of a rainy Seattle picture, I want a sunny one. All right, I'm going to commit my changes and then go back to deployment options, and it'll just take a few seconds for this to sync up. All right, awesome. Let's check it out. All right, that's better already. This is what Seattle is like most of the time. No, just kidding. Great, so now that we have everything ready to go live to production, let's actually go and perform a slot swap. So we'll go here and say swap. So we want to do a swap, and we want to swap from staging, which we've rigorously tested out already, to production. All right. So then this was our staging site. And as you can see, this is the URL for our production site. And we'll refresh that. And there it is. So this is a site that I wanted to go live. And if we go back to the staging slot now has the sample web app that we had in our production slot. So we actually just swapped them. So now that we have our awesome web app up and running, I want to talk to you about some of the settings that we have. So these are some of the features I promise will help you with being more productive and things that you otherwise would have had to build yourself if you decided to go with an IaaS approach. So right here are our settings on the left-hand side. So these are everything that was included in the feature list that I talked about in the PowerPoint. So one thing I want to point out first right here is scale out app service plan. So a lot of our users, when they first come, they start with a single instance because they're running a very small workload. However, they grow, and we want to be able to grow along with their site as they get more customers themselves. So right here, easy slider, and I can actually go all the way up to my 20 instances that I have on this premium V2 instance and enable auto scale as well. So basically, I can choose to go all the way up to 20 instances or create a rule here that basically tells App Service whenever I get this amount of traffic or this amount of CPU to scale out to, let's say, 5 instances at a max. And that way, I don't have to worry about configuring any of these scaling rules myself. So I will still get traffic as my shopping experience hopefully booms in the holiday season. This will accommodate for that automatically. So that's a really cool feature that you would have otherwise had to maybe implement yourself. Something else that's really neat is our custom domains. So even if you love your .azurewebsites.net URL that we already provide you, you may want to connect to domains that you already have or buy one. So in this tab, you're able to add your hostname right here or buy your domain in a single click. So we make that all easy for you. You don't have to go elsewhere. It's all in the same portal. Additionally, we have our slew of SSL certificates. So similar to custom domains, you can also import your app service certificate here and turn it on automatically. So then you have your HTTPS right and ready for you. Later on, I'll also talk about our authentication and authorization feature. So I'll talk about this in more detail, but if you want to know how to access it, it's just right here under the settings. Same with networking. So App Service has a lot of networking features that we offer, such as VNet integration, hybrid connections, IP restrictions, and that can also be easily accessible in the left-hand menu. All right, so something else that people also really like to use is this advanced tool that we call Kudu or your SCM site. So if we navigate to there, we'll give it a second. This is your SCM site. So this is called Kudu, and basically in our debug console here, you're able to figure out what's going on if there's a problem with your web app. All your logs are here. So this is something that our users use if they want to know more about the processes that are going on, and Kudu can help you debug that. All right, so I don't have time to go through all of these different features on these left-hand sides, but these are all well documented in our app service documentation and our team blog that will be linked at the end of this presentation. Next, I want to talk to you about what happens when something goes wrong with your web app and you're encountering issues. Let's say your web app is down and your users are telling you that you need to get your website back up and running. We actually have a feature that we released back in November 2017 called App Service Diagnostics. What is App Service Diagnostics? It is an intelligent and interactive troubleshooting experience that actually guides you through your problems, giving you the correct data correlated to when your web app went down or when you experienced slowness issues to more quickly and easily point you to the right direction so you can troubleshoot and prevent this issue from happening again. So there are several things that you can use diagnostics for. You can perform a health checkup, figuring out if the issue is related to their platform or to your app. Investigate web app down issues, web app slow issues, high CPU. But it's better if I just show you how it works. So we have our app here called Buggy Bakery. And as you can see, this is the same overview page that I showed you earlier in my awesome web app. So in this tab right here, Diagnose and Solve Problems, we'll click on that, and it'll take you to App Service Diagnostics. So as you can see, how this screen is laid out is kind of like a chatbot-like interactive guided experience. So let's say you have no idea what's going on. This is the first time you tried App Service or had issues with your web app. You'll want to run a health checkup. So all you have to do is click yes to perform a health checkup. And this basically fires off all these detectors that we have running on our app service infrastructure that monitors your web app and actually looks at a few different parameters to organize them in a way for you to consume. So here we have requests and errors, app performance, CPU usage, and memory usage. And App Service Diagnostics noticed that my web app was experiencing high CPU usage within the last 24 hours. And if I want to see the CPU issues. So I say yes, and it shows me a graph, actually, of all the instances that I have running, and actually shows me which app is actually causing the issue. So here it's clear that Buggy Bakery is the one consuming all the CPU I have, and that may be related to my web app down issues. So I know that now, but what I really want to do is be able to solve this, troubleshoot it, and get my web app back up and running. So App Service Diagnostics actually helps you with that as well. So it'll click and it'll ask you if you want to see more troubleshooting suggestions. And it'll load up this really neat widget. So this is our troubleshooting and next steps widget, which has different sorts of suggestions. So right here, we have a mitigation step, but we also have different ones for further investigation, quick fixes, and things like that. So as you can see, one of the things that came out was our scale out app service plan mitigation. So here, it looks like documentation, right? You can read about why you should scale out, why you should not scale up, and see like what your current app service plan is right now. But what I really love about this is that it's actionable. So if I click this blue button here, it's actually a quick fix it button. It'll actually go and directly scale out, and you don't have to click elsewhere or find it out yourself. You can actually do it one click from here. And then you go to the end. Hopefully you found this experience useful, and we really love your feedback. So this is a great way for you to help us improve App Service Diagnostics. So you can type something in here. So we scroll back up to the top. Let's say you came to this before and now you know exactly what's going on and you want to try out our tile shortcuts. So that's what we call these colorful boxes here, our tile shortcuts. So let me click on Web App Down. So here you see this graph of platform availability and app availability. So this can distinguish whether your app is healthy, our platform is healthy, or both. So here we notice and correlate all these different issues that you have into downtimes that you can select with these horizontal orange bars. We organize this page in 3 different categories. One called observations, one for application insights, and one for troubleshooting and next steps. Our observations are correlated directly to the downtime that you have selected. So in this case, in the downtime that I selected, we had high CPU issues. And we also, our application hit an auto heal measure. So actually it broke an auto heal rule, and our platform, the Azure App Service platform, actually tried to help you out and recycle your application. So it goes back to 100% availability or helps you out with that. So it kind of does that preemptively. And then finally, you can also see where the failed requests were coming from. Next, we talked a little bit earlier about application insights. So if you have that enabled and you're throwing exceptions, we actually highlight the common exceptions that were thrown during this particular downtime. So hopefully you'll see this here, or maybe see something in these exceptions related to dependencies or something in your app code that will help you diagnose and debug the issue. And if you click here, you'll enter into application insights directly. And then finally is that troubleshooting and next steps widget that I've already showed you, but it also shows up here as well. So here you can, again, easily scale up your app service plan. So I hope next time you run into issues with your web app on App Service that you go to App Service Diagnostics first. Chances are you'll see something here that will help you out, and there's a lot of really neat observations and ways for you to prevent this from happening again. So we actually suggest preventative measures so you can preemptively make sure your web app is up and running. If this doesn't help you out in this main screen, you can actually view a lot of different links and more advanced support tools on the right-hand menu, or contact us in any of these community forums as well. All right, awesome. So definitely check out App Service Diagnostics next time you run into any web app issues. Finally, to highlight some of our most loved features, we have EasyAuth and our App Service networking features. EasyAuth, otherwise known as authorization and authentication, is great if you want to limit your website so that it's not just a public website. This is great if you have an internal company website and you want a login first. This is a single-click configuration that you can turn on for auth. So this protects your site from public access and redirects the login to Azure Active Directory, Facebook, Google, other Microsoft entities, and so on. Next, here's a summary of our networking features for App Service. These include IP restrictions, hybrid connections, VNet integration, with some specific to App Service environment. So if you want a private IP address in your VNet, you would use an App Service environment versus a regular App Service. So this allows you to communicate with other Azure assets, not even just within the public cloud, as hybrid connections actually allow you to access your on-prem solutions. All right, so that's all for me. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out and I'll answer your questions or connect you to another one of my team members to help you out. And finally, follow our Azure App Service team blog. So we actually have all our updates here. You can leave comments, add suggestions. We look at this very carefully. And if we have anything that we want to showcase or warn you of, this is where all that information will be located. So I've hoped you enjoyed this presentation and are interested in trying out App Service. If you visit the second link right here, aka.ms/tryappservice, you can actually try App Service right now without a credit card for 24 hours. Really see how everything works. And then once you decide that's something that you want to use, you can continue on using those same credentials and create a Azure account. All right, thank you.